How's it going, guys? Back for another video. It has been a busy week, but I wanted to make this video because I've been working on this outline for a while now, being that the YouTube channel is a few months old in consistent videos, that is. And I've entitled it this Health, Wealth, and Happiness, and I've referred to health, wealth, and happiness throughout the videos that I've made and released and shared. So I wanted to bring some defining edges to what these things mean in my perspective and how I intend to share them on the channel in the future. There are kind of broad definitions, but I have taken the three terms and used the same guiding questions to kind of elaborate on what they mean in my mind and why those definitions are important to me. So I have some notes in front of me and I'm going to dive in. The three questions that I asked, that I used to guide the outline for all three, health, wealth, and happiness, are: what is the highest value that we can place on this term? And that's speaking to its definition, but also the level of embodiment. How do we talk about this term? The language that we use to describe the term and how we speak about the term. Finally, why or what do I have to share in regards to this term? And I think the last piece is, of course, very important because it's my unique input. It's what you get on the channel. The other things are more arbitrary, like definition and language. So let's start with health. How do we define health? What is the highest value we can assign to health? To me, it means to live life without any physical limitations. It means to fulfill your purpose entirely. It means to spread positivity and elevate that of others. And I'm trying to keep things short and sweet for the sake of the video, as well as referring back to this, remembering this. How do we talk about health? Physical, mental, and spiritual. You might throw emotional in there, you might throw some other things in there, but for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to keep it physical, mental, / emotional, and spiritual. Physical is how you value and treat your body. Mental and emotional refers to how you value and treat your many selves. Spiritual refers to how you value and treat your life. What am I sharing in regards to health? I am here to share that it is learned, not given or bought. I believe it is within everyone to become and live healthy. I believe that owning your health, your state of health, is the first step to loving your life. And I am not a guru of any kind. I think that the words loving your life are kind of like zing words right now, popular words. It doesn't really matter to me. It's just it's a way of speaking. You've got to own who you are to love what you do, even if what you want to do is different than where you are now. So that's my health manifesto. Let's move on to wealth. And remember, wealth is relative. It isn't just money. It isn't finance alone. And because it is a broad definition, there are subcategories of it that you can work on developing throughout life. Like, I'm not a quote-unquote wealthy person, but in many ways I believe that I am a wealthy person. And I think if you asked yourself honestly, you could find those things for yourself too. So what is the highest value we can place on wealth? To live your life without financial limitations. Without limitations in general. To live your life in abundance. So this refers to the non-limitation factors. Like it could be time, it could be finance, it could be what else? Space kind of thing. To give and receive freely. This is another piece of wealth that is super key that I have. Let me rephrase that. This is a piece of wealth that I believe is present in the wealthiest people on this planet. Because it is a broad category term and it refers to much more than just finance, this principle to give and receive freely is like the underlying principle of exchange. And it refers to how things, energy, flows freely and should be fluid as it moves between time, space, and people. One of those things is money. And once you understand how money flows, you can begin to make sense of what those patterns are and then put yourself into that game, if you will. So how do we talk about wealth? Wealth is a choice of abundance. Wealth is living what is true to you. Wealth is a gratitude for life. If you are not grateful for life, you will never experience wealth. What am I here to say about wealth? Wealth is learned, not given or bought. Wealth is directly correlated to your level of personal development. No surprise, what you have, what you possess in time, space, and even material items is only limited by your sense of personal development, by where you are, who you are as a person. It is common, I think, to see one elevated level, like material wealth is through the roof, but yet there is, like, on the other side of that coin, depression, loneliness, sadness, and it's plain to see that there is a lack of personal development there. Dollars buy you things, but time, effort, and frankly, love buy you, get you the life that you are happy to live. So true wealth is functioning within a set of rules that most do not play by. And to refer quickly back to that giving and receiving freely, this is a set of rules that many do not play by. Maybe in your town they do. Where I grew up, people did this. I mean, not everybody, but you find it more in small towns. And I don't think it's the average across this country. And that's not... I am an optimist. I believe that most people are good. But I believe that most people are also kind of closed to the idea that giving implies receiving as well. So this is just the definition. Talking through it, of course, we can dive in deeply to these things in the future. And the last thing I want to say about wealth is that wealth magnifies. Remember this because it's very important. Wealth magnifies. Whoever you are, wherever you are, wealth magnifies what you're doing. That can be a good thing and a bad thing. So that's the the wealth manifesto. Finally, happiness. This is like maybe the most vague of them because happiness it has a lot of definitions. Depending on who you are, where you are, what you're doing, and how old you are. So what is the highest value that we can place on happiness? Living as aligned with your own truth as possible. I believe that in each moment of every day, every choice we face, we have the opportunity to make a choice that is in alignment with who we are, or make a choice that is directly opposed to who we are. And those choices we face countless times every day. For some people, every choice that they make to stay in a situation that is basically tearing them apart and causing them to be, a saddened, shriveled, like just unimaginably poor version of themselves. Like it takes a choice to be there, and that is only possible to see if you are willing to take responsibility for your life first and foremost. And I do want to say one thing about this, because choice is a dangerous word. I understand this. Choice is like the first level, but the second and third level may have been past choices that have now become conditioning, just basically like a belief that what is. And so every day, I think it's important that you are willing to ask questions about things that you're uncomfortable thinking about. Somehow that doesn't quite add up to me, like saying it, but you need to be willing to ask questions about things that are big, that are like an umbrella, to who you are, to your life, to your identity, to your family, and to your future. You need to be able to reference the past and use the present as a decision opportunity to define your future. And if all you can see is that what is in front of you is the only option, and you're unwilling to ever ask questions about, like what you're doing, who you are, and the whys behind that, then chances are that you're gonna miss a lot of happiness. You're gonna struggle to find happiness in your life as you go about living life in an attempt to be happy, if that makes sense. You're gonna be further and further from the thing you're pursuing while you are pursuing it. So, moving on, internal and external awareness. And I believe that this is important. You have what's inside and you have what's out, what's around you. Receiving and giving love and support, including to yourself. Happiness is about receiving, giving, and supporting those around you, including yourself. Receiving and giving love, So, how do we talk about happiness? As a way of living and being. Ignorance or trust. And you have to trust that your innate sense of happiness is at least a starting point. It's like, if you're not willing to trust yourself, who are you willing to trust? You never will ask those questions. Ignorance is bliss, the saying goes, and it's true. If you never ask those questions, you never begin to know what you don't know. And chances are you're just never going to figure out where you want to be or why things don't line up. It takes fear and courage. And you are like, these are two things that you have to experience, because fear is something we avoid in a general sense, but it can also be something that is a guide. And this is what I've been able to do, I think, over the past number of years, that has really helped change who I am and how I see the world, is I have learned to use fear as a guide as opposed to a warning, if you will. It might be a warning that you're about to be uncomfortable, but it is a guide in the sense that pursuing what scares you is going to lead to things that you didn't know existed, to expansion of your of your person, of who you are, your many selves, your identity. And to do that, it takes courage. But courage it's there. It's always there. And it's hiding. But all you have to do is decide to use it. And in the decision process, courage exposes itself. Now, how do we talk about happiness? If known and believed, it is infinite. There is no limit to the happiness that you can feel for yourself, for others around you, for the world, for the population, for the community, whatever it is. Like, whatever levels you want to experience, you can experience. They're there. What am I here to say about happiness? Happiness is another term for purpose-driven. And purpose can be discovered and created. Purpose is another hot word right now. To be created and discovered simply refers to learning. All you have to do is try to find your purpose, and your purpose will begin to create itself. That's it. Occasionally there are people, of course, who know, and they are the outliers, I think, of the world, because they're blessed with this sense of knowing exactly what they want to do, what their purpose is. And maybe we all are born with that, but for many of us, including me, that was conditioned out. And I either was never given the opportunity at the point that it was well-timed or necessary to really know what that purpose was, or the alternate scenario is just that we have to discover it, and that's it. And that's the way it is for most people. So you accept it and you go for it, really. So it's another term for purpose-driven. Being driven to do something is simply being hungry to learn. Learning requires failure, so you're hungry for failure. Happiness can be given. However, it only lasts when it is learned and practiced. Learned and practiced. And it is learned and practiced by simply modeling first from your community, and then it is practiced by employing it in the real world and really living it. And then finally, happiness is fluid. It is not stagnant. It is not something you achieve and then simply set on the shelf. It is fluid. It comes and goes. That's the nature of happiness. I have wondered a long time if it was something that you simply achieved and could experience all the time. And it isn't. I'm positive that it isn't, because it would leave life very gray. If all you experienced was happiness, it would actually be probably toxic at that point, because happiness exists on a scale of contrast. You must know the scale and experience the scale to know happiness. That's the way. It's the law of the land. So, we're 19 minutes in, and that was not as quick as I thought, but that is my manifesto about health, wealth, and happiness, and I hope you've enjoyed. If you've made it to the end, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I would really love to hear your feedback, and hopefully we can dive into these more in the future, but it's up on the channel. That's what matters, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you again. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a great week.